Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to make this 2D logo you see. I had a follower ask me to explain from A to Z on how I made my little rotating logo you see in the bottom right corner. It's going to be lengthy, so it's going to be a 3-part. I had already done quite a bit with using the S polygon and extrude node, which is what I use. I didn't show how I made the 2D logo and actually saved it as a preset. So if you want to keep reusing it. So we'll go ahead and get started in Fusion. We'll grab a background node. I did decide to make this one full tutorial from A to Z. It'll automatically make a media out. Select the background node. Make it white. This does not have to be transparent because you're going to run it through an SVG file, which you can find online free anywhere. And that will be probably part 2 where we start using that. I am going to have my logo start out with a circle. So go to the toolbar up here and pick an ellipse. If you have the background selected, it'll automatically connect. And we want to keep that symmetrical. So right now if you move either the width or the height, it'll distort it. So right click on the width, go down to expression, then grab this little plus. Drag it over to the height with the quick whip and let go. Then click away. I also want to mention I use the handicap controller and it's a sip and puff, so you may hear that once in a while throughout the tutorial. Nothing I can do about it, so please excuse that. Back to the inspector and uncheck solid. Right above it we have border width. I'm going to make mine at 0.015. And you can set yours to your liking. Now I'll grab a text plus node. Before we go any farther, let's go back to the ellipse. I'm going to size mine to 0.4. Okay, now we go back to the text node. Merge that into the background. Select the text node and put the text you're liking in. And obviously, the more you put in there, the more it's going to complicate things when you make this. So you might want to start out with a simple one and take it used to it. The SVG files can be quite complicating to dig through. Set your font, your size, and all that now. Bring that down, we'll make some room. Grab another background node. And this time we're going to use a polygon. Go up here to the toolbar and select it. Merge the background 2 into background 1. Select the polygon. If you hold down the shift key, it will keep your line in a straight line rather than be off 1 or 2 pixels. And with that selected, in the inspector, under border width, I'm going to make mine at 0.01. And we also want to make that background white as well. I'm going to copy both these. Click away right here and paste. Merge that background into the merge 2. Now, the easiest way is to just use a transform, and we're going to take and just flip this one so we have one on top instead of trying to mimic it. So select the background node. On the toolbar, go to transform. Then if you go up in the inspector under vertical flip, now if you look at the logo, we have both up there. Now the more time you spend on your polyline, the better it's going to look. I'm not trying to get too technical here for the sake of the tutorial. And it doesn't have to be transparent or anything to go through the SVG converter. Now we're going to go up to File in the left corner. Go down to Export. Current frame as still. As you see, I already have one here. I'll just double click it, copy it. And this is it. Now you have a logo. 2D logo. Well, that's the end of part 1. I might put this on there ahead of time, but we will go into part 2 with VS Polygon and extrude nodes and SVG file. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of probably going to be a 3-part series of my 3D logo that you see in the bottom right corner. As I mentioned in part 1, one of my followers wanted me to do this all the way from A to Z. So we're going to complete as much as we can here and eventually make a macro so we can use it as a template. And with that said, we'll go ahead and get started. Go up in the media pool, right click, new fusion composition. You can name it if you like, we don't have to. And I'm on a 30 frame per second frame rate, and I'm gonna leave it at the 5 seconds. And go to Fusion. I'm gonna go ahead and show the SVG converter that I've been using and how I do all that too. I've been using this SVG trace. It's free. Here's a logo we made in the first part. The 2D logo, I should say. I don't have the paid version of this. I just use the free. If you do use this, you're definitely going to want to slide this slider all the way to the right. And hit export. Download SVG. And there it went up. It's number 7. Now to bring that file into Fusion, go up here to Fusion, go to Import, SVG, and this is the one right here I just converted. I leave the dimensions as is. I figured the computer knows more about it than I do. Now we want to open this up and pick out what we need out of it. So right click, ungroup. We'll put it in viewer 1. And when I click on it, you'll see that is the outer perimeter of it, so we want that. I'm just going to hurry up and pick the ones I need out of here. The more text you have in your logo, the more complex this will be. Highlight them all and see if they're all in there. Most of the time there are duplicates in here for whatever reason. Okay, that's all of them. I'll delete the rest. Click away right about here. Shift spacebar and S polygon. Shift spacebar again. Extrude. What we have to do is take everything that's in these SVG nodes, copy them, and paste them into the S polygon node. I have done other tutorials with this, but this particular person wanted to know exactly how I made my animated logo you see in the bottom right corner. So we'll go ahead and do it. We'll select that node. Highlight them all. Right click one point. Down to the bottom. Up here to copy. Click on the S polygon node. We'll put it in viewer 2. Right click in viewer 2. Down to the bottom. And paste. Now it's transferred over to here. Let's go ahead and get our 3D set up here. In the toolbar, we want to merge. Camera. And render. Put the merge in viewer 1. And you see nothing's lined up there. Select the camera. Go up to transform. Select use target. Translation, Z-axis, we'll move that camera back till we start seeing it in viewer 2. For whatever reason, it's way off center using these files. There is a correction for it, but they don't all come out egg-shaped like that. Some come out normal, some come out egg-shaped. When they come out shaped like this, we have to use a transform, and it changes some settings. So depending on what you use, you may have to use different settings. I'll try to explain the ones I use per each one as we go. Okay, to start with, select the extrude, go up to transform. Normally we would put 0.5 on the X and the Y value. I should say minus 0.5. That brings it down, and it does center it. But you'll see here in a minute, when we get rid of the egg shape, because it's supposed to be a circle, things will change. So select your S polygon node, shift spacebar, and S transform. Now go in the inspector under the Y size. See, that makes it round again. And you want to set that Y value at 0.55. That will make it round. Now, if it came out round originally, that would be the settings we would want up here. Minus 0.5 and minus 0.5. But as you've seen, what it did when I corrected it with the transform. So now we'll change this one to minus 0.25. And it brings it bang on center. Like I said, if you don't have to use the S transform, both these will be at minus 0.5. Now we'll set the pivot up. The X and the Y is 0.5. Actually, the pivot Y-axis, we want 0.25 as well. I just seen it was too high over here. If you look in my viewer 1 right now, that's where it's at 0.5. Like I say, you may have to have different values than what I have here. Okay, that's lined up. Under controls, we have everything you would normally have in any 3D text. There's a little lighting switch up here. If you select that, you can see the 3D much better. Take the excursion subdivisions all the way up to the right. And smoothing angle all the way up to the right. You can set your bevel depth and width however you like. I like 0.0063. Let's do a custom setting as well. This will usually round these edges a little nicer. Highlight the top ones and hit F on the keyboard to flatten them. Drag the handles all the way out. Take the subdivisions all the way up. If you look here, you'll see the pivot point is on the back side. We want to move it into the center. So to go back to the transform, to 0.05. Now we'll go to the camera. Before we do that, let's put a transform in here. Select the extrude node, shift spacebar, and transform 3D. Now we can use under rotation, the y-axis, and we can rotate it. If you look at it, it's kind of wobbling. So we're going to set these pivot points up the same. So set that pivot point Z value at 0.05. Let's do the camera too. Okay, I think that'll be it. Now we'll go ahead and start putting it together. We did this one already. Now we'll go down to this one. So click away right here. Shift spacebar and S polygon. Go back to that node. Those are all done the same, so I won't explain each one to you. Select that first polygon node. Shift spacebar and S Boolean. Now you'll see we only have the part that's supposed to be cut out. I'll select the S Boolean node. In the inspector under operations, select subtract. And that's the way it's supposed to look. Select the S Boolean node. Shift spacebar and S merge. Okay, we're going to use this one next. So put that in viewer 1. Click away. And S polygon. And same thing again, we're going to highlight this, pick a point, and convert it over. Select the S polygon again. Go into right viewer, right click, and paste. Select the S Boolean and type in S Boolean, we'll get another one. Just did the exact same thing again. Hopefully you caught that. Okay, here's the next one. Becomes somewhat repetitious after a bit. You can lay these out many ways. Once again, select the Boolean, operations, subtract. Click away. as polygon again. Now you don't have to use the S Boolean if you want to cut out. Like in the D, we'll have a center cutout. We're going to use one more Boolean node. Doing the same thing again. Okay, now we got the D. Start out with the outer one. Okay, now we have the solid D here. Now we got to do the center part and cut it out. Click away right about there. Another S polygon. Keep repeating myself. Now select the outer part of the D. Shift spacebar and S Boolean. And connect that. Now you see we don't see the outer part, just the inner. With the S Boolean selected. Operations. Subtract. Now we have our whole logo. We're not going to add any lighting because the lighting does not have any effect with putting the chrome and the gold, the shiny colors. So no light needed. Drag that merge back in the viewer 1. Select the extrude node again. Shift spacebar and replace material. Okay, I have a special node made up for the chrome. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make it up now. Go to Fusion. Shaders. Don't use the chrome node that's in here. It's not effective enough. I'm going to grab a gold bump node. Double click it and open it up. We want to delete everything all the way down to the blur, including the blur. Highlight them, right click, and delete. And come over to the inspector. Take the face on strength all the way up to the right. Let's connect that node into the replace material. And now you can see why you have to have the face on strength all the way to the right. Now that looks exactly like Chrome. Much better Chrome than what Resolve has. But if you want to make it any color, in shiny colors, select the render node, go to the toolbar and get a color corrector. That is 2D, that's why it's got to be down behind the, between the render and the media out. Now if you go in the inspector, you can make it any color you like. Now let's go ahead and animate this. Go back to that transform 3D. Reset your Y value. That's what we're going to animate it with. Make sure you're on frame 0. We are. I like to rotate it at about 20-degree angle. Minus 20. Set a keyframe. Go to frame 75. Rotate that to 340. Take the playhead all the way to the end. And rotate it to 700. Okay, we want to make this so it's going to continue to rotate as long as we want it to. So you'll be able to take your 5-second preset and you can stretch it as long as you'd like. So open your spline. Make sure your transform node is selected. Open your spline. I have show only selected tools. If you don't have that selected, you may see a bunch in here. Makes it easier if you have it set like this. So select them. Go over here to zoom to fit. Select all. F for flatten. Then hit T as in Tom. This ease in and ease out will pop up. We're having them both the same, so lock that and run these up to fit about 55. And back down here, hit set relative. That will keep it in motion. Close your spline. Go to the inspector and see what we have. We'll go up here and render the cache. You can make that as long as you want. I do want to go over one more thing with the render. Select that. Go to the inspector under render type. Change from software to hardware. Don't need to do anything with the light and shadows because we're not using them. Under the color corrector, you'll have that in the preset when we're done. You can change it to fast. And if you look up at the logo, it completely changes it. Now if you want to size this, just do like you normally would. Select it. And you can make it whatever size you'd like. I do recommend taking the template that we make and making a transparent PNG video of your logo and then saving your power bin and just grab it from there and drop it on your timeline. It will render out much faster that way. Personally, I think that's a little bit too thick. Let's go back to the extrude node. Under controls, narrow that up a little bit. Our pivot point will be off a little bit now. So the new setting will be 0.034. So we'll go back to the Transform 3D and change that to 0.034.
Preview, 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 preview.
I think we're good. We'll get ready to make the macro in a moment. Need to get all them old nodes we're not using out of here. Hold the control button down. Couple things I want to check first. Might want to make sure your custom is closed. It's on classic. You always have that option in the inspector, but you don't want to have it open for no reason. It just takes room. And let's reset that back so it's Chrome. Now hold the control button. Set the color corrector first. Extrude second. And then A for all. With the control button still down. Let's deselect the media out. We don't need that. Right click on any one of the other nodes. My controller, being a handicap controller, this seems to affect me here, going back and forth with the nodes. Okay, there we go. Go to macro. Create macro. We'll give it a name. Tutorial logo. And just follow along. I'll try not to go too fast. We want reset all color changes. Now go to extrude. Under controls. Now we have to have one input and one output. And we have that with the color corrector node. If we didn't, we have to find one. Okay, we should be good. Go print a file. If you want to lock it so you can't open it back up, select Save As. If you want to make it so you can ungroup it, select Save as Group. Now we have to get our file. Under titles, I have my own folder I have made up to test these out. I'll open that up. I just copied and pasted it into my other folder. Once in a while, you have to shut Resolve off and go back into it. But normally you don't. There it is. Click on it. If you don't see it in the inspector, click on titles. And we should have everything we need. Bring the playhead over. Make it any color you want. Again, you can select this fast. It changes the color completely. Or better. The better, it's just shinier, more glossy. You have a reset all color changes. Go back to 0. And down at the bottom, we can add more excursion to it. Or less. And you got your bevel, depth and width, and your custom. Sorry about my voice. I'm starting to get winded here. I run out of energy pretty quick. I have a hard time breathing. Well, there you go. That's how I made my logo. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.